Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And this is part of our special edition, The Voices of Australia, with kind of a focus on travel, and not just travel, but events and all things LGBT life in Australia in partnership with GALTA, the Gay and Lesbian Travel Association of Australia. And we're here with Kate Wickett from Sydney WorldPride 2023. How are you?
Hey Matt, how you going? I'm really
Fantastic.
well.
You guys have been a part of GALTA also for quite some time, I think, yes?
Yeah, that's right. It's a really great organization, and obviously it couldn't be more relevant now since we won World Pride, which is fantastic.
I know. Well, for those that don't even know, because I have been to Sydney for Mardi Gras, and it was actually, we were just talking about another city, and which we'll get back to in a moment. But Sydney's also, it's. I'm from LA originally, and Sydney's one of my favorite cities in the whole world because Sydney's like it encapsulates some of the best of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle. Kind of brings it together into a single city, and then of course has this whole different culture and like
Yeah.
that we can, and so you live in an amazing place.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've been really fortunate to live in a few different places in Australia. I've
Yeah.
lived in Adelaide, I've lived in Darwin, I've lived in Melbourne, and now I'm in Sydney. I've been here for about 7 years this time. But yeah, it's a fantastic city. It's a harbourside city.
Yeah.
And so we have a very deep harbour, a very large harbour, but then surrounded obviously by beaches, both to the north and the south.
Yeah.
Great climate, not as cold as Melbourne, not as sticky and humid as Brisbane. Yeah, it's just a wonderful place to be.
Well, there's lots of reasons for us to, on the heels of World Pride last year in New York City,
Yeah.
and now, and that's the next one. There is no other World Pride in between, is there? From
No, no, in fact, there's WorldPride 2021 in Copenhagen. So
okay.
that will be at the end of August of next year in 21. And we're certainly very much hoping to get over there. I spoke with the Copenhagen team only just last week, and they're very much preparing as if everything's going ahead. Obviously, COVID's caused a number of complications and is problematic for a number of reasons. But I do think they will definitely go ahead and they'll just augment their events to the health standards for that particular time.
Yeah. Well, Sydney World Pride 2023 is now a separate organization, but you're still on the board of Sydney Mardi Gras for coming up next year as well. Yes.
Yes, correct. That's exactly right. So I was the co-chair of Mardi Gras for 3 years, and me and a couple of others led the bid for World Pride, and then when we won World Pride, I stepped down as co-chair, and I'm now leading World Pride, but still very much helping out with Mardi Gras.
Well, what is Mardi Gras in 2021? Are they still planning to have it as a real event?
Yeah, well, our COVID cases here in Sydney at the moment are exceptionally low. So the health regulations are changing almost weekly and for the positive kind of better outcome, which is really pleasing. We are definitely planning to go ahead for 2021 in whatever form that might take. We're hoping that it's not just an online format. And I know that the team have been working exceptionally hard on a very creative idea, and we're just working very closely with the government at the moment to work out what is going to be possible in terms of safe and social distancing.
Well, fortunately, World Pride is 3 years from now, so it gives you plenty of time and for all of us to prepare. And but what do we have in store for us? Any highlights?
Yeah, well, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have World Pride in 23 on the same footprint as Mardi Gras, so always the last week of February and the first week of March. We will have all of the same events and signature events that Mardi Gras put on. So really importantly, Mardi Gras has the only nighttime curated Pride parade in the world. And so we will have that Saturday night parade. And you've obviously been to that Mardi Gras before, and you can attest that it's a spectacular event. And we will have the fair day, the parade, the march. And then on top of that, we will have all of the new World Pride events. So obviously under the agreement with Interpride, we must have an opening ceremony, a closing ceremony, and a human rights conference. So there will be a 3-day human rights conference here in Sydney. For those who have been to South by Southwest, we're very much trying to emulate our human rights conference on a very immersive and interactive conference. So yeah, it's going to be incredibly exciting.
Yeah, in fact, it was WorldPride in Madrid. It was the first time I had attended where I saw the integration of the Human Rights Conference as part of that as well. And it seems like it's now a kind of a real anchor as part of the programming nowadays.
Yeah, interestingly, last year in New York, the Human Rights Conference wasn't a cornerstone. It was a little out of the city. And so what we wanted to do is kind of turn it on its head and kind of make it a centerpiece of our festival. And certainly when we pitched to host WorldPride last year in Athens, we made the Human Rights Conference a real centerpiece. So it's going to be at our convention centre in Darling Harbour here in Sydney. And interestingly, one of the other kind of exciting events that we're hosting for WorldPride is our First Nations hub. So we made, we really do value our First Nations culture here. It is the oldest living continuous culture in the world. And so we wanted to bring that to the forefront. So the Human Rights Conference in the centre of Darling Harbour is going to be right next to a dedicated First Nations hub in the middle of the city. So if you've been to Sydney before, you would know that Darling Harbour is also a kind of a centerpiece for tourists when they come, which is really exciting.
Nice. Well, when you were in Athens for the bid, you were there. Malta was also bidding. So I know it's not part of Australia, and I just can't help but to throw it in because it's become one of my favorite destinations. I've been there a few times now. But they won for WorldPride 2023. So there's two major events that hopefully, I know I'm personally going to try to go to both.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely want to go to both. I'm so excited for Malta. I mean, I met their team in Athens and they're just such lovely people. Yeah. I'm so proud of them. And of course, that city is just so stunning, isn't it? It's going to be a great event. You're also missing one other event, actually, though, that the LGBT community is also quite excited about here in Australia, even though it's not an LGBT event. It's the Women's FIFA Soccer World Cup in Australia in 23 as well. So 23 is going to be a super year. EuroPride, WorldPride, the Women's World Cup. So it's busy year for travel.
Let's put all these positive vibes out there to make up for everything we've had to put up with in 2020. So we'll say that 2023 we'll make up for all that.
Yeah, I hope so. That's definitely the plan.
Yeah. Well, this is fantastic. I'm very much looking forward. Like I said, it's very much on our calendar and our plans, and look forward to seeing you all and being a part of this with you. But thanks for sharing some of the highlights, snippets that you have now, so that we can be starting to make our plans.
Of course. Thanks, Matt. And hope everyone in America is staying safe. And thanks for the opportunity to chat this morning.
Absolutely. Well, take care. Nice meeting you.
Take care. Ciao.
And it feels good, so good.